Hello everybody, it's your favorite girl Sylvia here, and today I am going to be discussing my Floowandereez deck profile. So, before I get too far into it, I'm going to try to cut these videos down shorter, try and make them shorter so they're not as long as the first one. I went basically watching some other ones, seeing how other people did theirs, and yeah, how they massively cut down their size and such, and yeah. If you guys like the video, be sure to definitely drop a follow and like the video as well. If you want to even comment of what deck profile I should probably look into next, or who you probably want to see have a deck profile, I can most likely do that. I'm most likely going to be doing deck profiles from people that I know of IRL, where I'm gonna ask them to explain their deck profile and such the best they can, and all that. But without any further ado, we're gonna get right on into it. So, I run one of Ryza Mega Monarch. The reason being is because he really should be only ran at 1, because he can easily brick you. Because if you draw, like, all your big monsters in one hand, that's gonna screw you over. And he's only good for most likely on your opponent's turn, or even for your turn if you're wanting to get cards off of the field. This is a good way to do it, especially if you tribute a wind monster with it to summon him. Because then he can get 1 on the field back to the top of the deck, as well as 1 in the graveyard back to the top of the deck. And then if you tribute with the wind monster, you can target 1 more to go and put back into their hand. So yeah. And then next we got Snow. Snow is good for when they have a bunch of let's see here. If they have a bunch of special summon monsters that's effects activate while they're face up and such, you can use this effect to make them all go into face down. And then you get like 3 normal summons and sets when you get this card out on the field for the rest of the duel, basically. Unless they destroy the card. I run M-Pen at 2 because with M-Pen, you're going to need a second one in case they banish the first. You know? And M-Pen is good for when you decide to go to battle phase and you attack into a monster that has higher attack. You can use its effect to banish 1 card from your hand, and the opponent's monster loses half their attack and defense. And you can do it while they're attacking into you, or when you're attacking into them. Also, it's an ongoing, basically, skill drain for special summon attack position monsters, where it'll just say, no, you cannot activate effects when this card is face up on the field. So yeah. Next we got Apex Avian. It's good for basically an Omni Negate for like chains and such. So you can like go Chain Link 2 and use Apex Avian's effect. So it's good for Omni Negating that type of stuff. And definitely good to have in the deck. Next we've got 2 Strides. I run only 2 Strides because I don't need to get bricked up on the strides and whatnot if I don't have map in hand. If I don't have map in hand and I have strides, they're not going to be of much help because all it does is basically banishes 1 card in my graveyard. And then I can normal summon again. So if I don't have map or unexplored winds out on the field, strides basically useless to me. Because then I would need to find a way to get rid of it. I would need to find a way to normal summon another monster and another Floowandereez monster to keep the combo going. But if I don't, that's gonna hurt. I run 2 Toucans because what Toucan does, it's pretty much the same thing with Stry, where I can grab 1 banished Floowandereez card from the banish zone. Next, I do 3 Eaglins. You always want to run 3 Eaglins because it can get you that M-Pen, Ryza, Apex Avian, and even Snow. With that, it always gets them, and that's why it's best to run it at 3. Also, little disclaimer as well too, because of like how this deck is. Any Floowandereez monster, whenever they leave the field while they're face up, they get banished. But whenever you summon a winged beast monster, they come right back to your hand. You can activate the effects and go Chainlink 1, Robina, Chainlink 2, Eaglin to bounce Eaglin back to the hand. So yeah, anywho. We always do 3 Robinas. That can grab us the rest of the Eaglins, Toucans, Strides, and even another Robina per se. So yeah. Yep. It basically, actually, hold on. It can grab 1 level 4 or lower winged beast monster. Sorry about that. Next, I do 3 dimension shifters, because the good thing about dimension shifter is if you got nothing in your graveyard, which with Floowandereez, a lot of times you won't have anything in your graveyard, activate dimension shifter, and that means any card going to the graveyard is banished instead. Meaning if they try to Droll and Lockbird ya, or they try and Ghost Ogre ya, or cards like that, they cannot. Because the only one that can get around it, by what I know of right now, is Ash Blossom. Because it says discard instead of send this card to the graveyard. I run 2 Droll and Lockbirds. The reason being is because then I can at least stop my opponents from just popping off, drawing over and over and over and over. I do 1 DD Crow because sometimes you need something to just get rid of, and this card's usually in it. So I just put it in there just because why not. Also, it's for a placeholder for the side deck instead, in case I need to add stuff from the side deck into the main deck. And then we've got 3 Floowandereez and the Magnificent Map. Magnificent Map, it's good to have at 3, that's for sure, because then you can like reveal 1 level 4, or let's see here, where does it say it on here? Yeah, 1 level 1 Floowandereez monster and in my hand, and then banish 1 Floowandereez monster. Floowandereez, they're all level 1s. So this is good for this card all the way. And so basically, it doesn't even take up your normal summon. It's still doing an extra normal summon for you, basically. And then you can go through your combo. If they decide to Ash Blossom that, and you have another Eaglin in hand, because you banished one, or even if they do that, you can still grab the Eaglin by doing Chainlink 1 Robina, Chainlink 2 Eaglin, and then grab the Eaglin back. And then, if they Ash Blossom it, you still got your regular, per turn, normal summon the Eaglin effect to go and grab what you need. And basically continue on with your combo like nothing ever stopped it. All the way till you get M-Pen. An M-Pen will be used to grab either Unexplored Winds. Unexplored Winds ain't a once per turn when you go and basically tribute their monsters. Or their card in general. Target 1 card you control and 1 card your opponent controls and use it to tribute summon. That part of the effect ain't once per turn. The only part of it that's once per turn is when you reveal up to 2 Winged Beast monsters in your hand and place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then draw cards equal to the number of cards placed. And you can reveal up to 2, but you can also just reveal 1 Winged Beast monster. It still works that way. So you can be like, I reveal this DD Crow, put it on the bottom of the deck, and draw 1 card. You can do that. So that's the fun thing about Unexplored Winds. And then with M-Pen, you can also look to try and get Advent of Adventures. You can also try and get the traps as well too. Most people like to go for the traps as well. Me, I just go for sometimes the traps, or I go for Unexplored Winds or Advent of Adventures. Because Advent, you banish 1 Winged Beast monster from your hand and or face-up field, and add 1 Floowandereez monster or Floowandereez field spell. And then you gain 500 life points from that. That's a good way to just kind of just go recycling. Usually, sometimes what I'll even do with Maps Effect is banish on Advent of Adventure, and then summon Toucan to grab back the Advent of Adventure. That's more for later in the gameplay, though. I do 3 Pot of Prosperities and 3 Dualities for draw power, basically. Because Pot of Prosperity, it says you cannot draw cards by card effects, but Pot of Duality isn't drawing cards by card effect. You're excavating the top 3 cards and adding one of those cards from there to your hand. You're not drawing at all. So that's what's good about the Pot of Dualities and Pot of Prosperities. And you can get them quite often. And then next we've got Called by the Grave and March of the Monarchs. That's for the Ash Blossom. That's for basically keeping your M-Pen from getting destroyed from, like, say, a spell or trap card. That's why I run that in the deck, because they cannot, like, I can't special summon from my extra deck, which I don't special summon anything. My extra deck I find useless to me, because a lot of the other stuff in this deck requires no special summoning. But March of the Monarchs, that helps keep your stuff a bit more safe. Your tribute summon monsters, which is a lot of the cards anyways. Next we've got 2 Infinite Imperms. Infinite Imperms, that's good for monster negating, as well as just being a hand trap as well to monster negate. And then, if you set it face down and then flip it face up, it negates that whole column. I run 2 Harpy's Featherstorm, because you're going to most likely control a Winged Beast monster, and it'll negate any monster effects your opponent activates. So, if you activate this on your turn, they cannot activate any monster effects. And you can even activate one on your opponent's turn. They cannot activate any monster effects. The only way they can get through with the monster effects is if it's part of their ongoing effect. Because that's also a difference people don't realize. Ongoing effect versus activating a monster effect. So, yeah. And then we got Floowandereez and the Scary Sea. When my opponent would special summon a monster, this will bounce that monster back to their hand, and then they can get 3 normal summons and sets this turn. So that's the fun thing about this, is, and you gotta control a tribute monster as well. But basically, they won't be able to, like, normal summon most of the time, because most decks require a lot of special summoning. But if they can't special summon, you've pretty much locked them out. Same thing with Floowandereez and Dreaming Town. During the main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one level 4 or lower Winged Beast monster. And if you control a level 7 or higher tribute summon monster, while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card and change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. So you're pretty much doing a Book of Moon on them. But yeah, so that's the main deck for you. Let's get on to the extra deck. The extra deck, the only cards that I really have that I find important is IP Masquerena, Nightmare Phoenix, and Underworld Goddess of Closed World. The other cards, this is for a specific player, because I know what type of deck they're playing and such, and also even for other decks that do the same thing. Chimera Tech, Fortress Dragon, and Mega Fleet. If I'm able to live long enough for the next turn, I will contact fuse their stuff away. Because it needs Cyber Dragon plus 1 machine monster. And same thing with this one. Cyber Dragon plus 1 monster in the extra monster zone. So basically, there's this one dude that comes to locals. Oh, I forgot a Mega Fleet. That likes to play Cyber Dragons all the time. That is specifically, like, for them. That is what I made this deck be specifically for. Whenever I'm paired up against Cyber Dragons, and they basically Clockwork Knight my stuff. then I just do that, and yeah, it stops them for a little bit. And then it's just a bunch of other random stuff that just fills in. Now, for the side deck, empty sleeve, but basically I have Raigeki, Evenly Matched, Countergate, Dimensional Fissure, and Terraforming. Terraforming is kind of like, do I want it in the deck, do I not? It's if I'm not drawing the Advent of Adventures or maps that easily. Countergate, I used for a while, but like, I would always get the most dumbest luck with it. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, negate the attack, and if you do, draw one card. Then if it is a monster, immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon it in face-up attack position. So, like, here's the hard part about it that I've been screwed over with. I've either drawn a monster that I cannot normal summon, special summon, or any of that, because what I mainly was hoping to draw was a Robina, per se, and just go popping off the combo. Dimensional Fissure. These are for if they're doing a whole lot of summoning and stuff requiring to be in the graveyard. So, that's why I basically also run 3 dimensional shifters. The dimensional fissures, they can be added in there in case the dimensional shifters aren't lasting long enough, and I need something to last a little longer and hopefully draw into to last longer. Because any monsters sent to the graveyard are banished instead. That would stop a bunch of Droll and Lockbirds and such. One Evenly Match, it's so, like, a lot of people use it in a Floowandereez deck, in their side deck, just to even the playing field. Raigeki, same thing. Destroy all monsters my opponent controls. And then all I really got to worry about is when I use Unexplored Winds, I contribute their spells and traps. But that's pretty much it for this Floowandereez deck profile breakdown. Hope you guys like it, and I will see you guys in the next video. See y'all later. Bye-bye!
It goes on and on and on.